But hey, like I said in the intro, Shay, we got us a football game to break down, and it's the Armed Forces Bowl. Missouri against who are they playing here? Army. I almost said
Army,
Navy for a
come on
second
now.
here. They're Army, Navy. I don't know the difference. Do you? But anyway, I do know that Army favored by 6.5 points. The game kicks off at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central on ESPN, and the over/under is 54.5 points. Now, Shane. Now here's where things get tricky here. Picking these bowl games is tough enough, but you got all four of your permanent captains out for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Beatty, All-American running back, he's out. Connor Bazelak, your starting quarterback, he's out. Case Cook, your best offensive lineman, he's out. Martez Manuel, your leading tackler and one of your team captains there in the secondary, he's out. Now we got Brady Cook starting at quarterback for Missouri. Here's his career number, Shane. 24 of 30. He's accurate, but for only 175 yards, 2 touchdowns. And the only games he's played this year, Southeast Missouri. He played against Georgia, South Carolina, and Arkansas. So, having said all that, good luck picking the game, Shane. Who you got in the Armed Forces Bowl, Missouri or Army?
Well, I'll tell you, Mike, the thing about Army is I got a soft spot for these guys, all right? I went to school with a couple of buddies that went up there and played. I thought that was a pretty big deal. And, when you're from a small school and some of your pals go to these universities, you kind of take some of these schools in. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I pulled for Army because of these guys. I'll never forget one of them, David, if you're out there listening. Back when I played, there was no such thing as concussions, there You come up dizzy, the coach just calls it, what do you call it, like a ringer or something like that, or you just got popped in your ear hole. That's it. You'll be fine. Dust off, and for 2 or 3 plays, you have no idea what world you're in. Well, I'll never forget the first concussion I got was from this guy that played at Army, man. I was coming through, we were in practice, and all of a sudden, the snap goes, the running back sitting there. I'm like, this is too perfect, Like, nobody blocked me, and about that time, pulling guard, here he is, knocked the shit out of me. I'm laying on the grass. The coach is yelling at me, telling me to get back in the huddle. But I'll never forget the day he let me out. But hey, kudos to those guys. I love Army, I love Navy, I love Air Force, I love all these guys. Appreciate everything they do for our country, and Army is not a pushover, Mike. There's a reason they're in a bowl game. There's a reason Tennessee dodged them at the start of the season. You don't want to play a team like Army, and especially because you think about what are they good at, Mike? When you think of Army, what do you think of? I think of running the ball. I don't know about you, but you should, because they're very damn efficient at it. And then here on the flip side of the coin, you got Mizzou. Now, I will granted say that later in the season, the defense has tightened up a little bit, especially against the running game. But when you're playing a team that's all they do, it is so tough to defend. Now, there is an added benefit. They had a week advantage. They got a week to watch Army play against Navy. They got some more time to get film in. So, maybe this defense is going to be right. But, the thing that I hate, Mike, is the thing you led off with. Who's not here? The guys that got us to this bowl game. You know what I'm saying? You got a tackle that's going to be a first rounder. You got the Beatty, which is the heart and soul of this offense. I don't think Bazelak is going to kill you, but it is a good picture, a good preview of next season. When you look at this game, I think if you're a Mizzou fan, you're tuning in not for the results. I think you're tuning in to see what your team's going to look like in the future. So, and I'm pretty excited. I'm telling you, I'm watching this recruiting class come together. I think the future's bright for Mizzou. The problem is, Mike, it's not bright for this bowl game. I tried many, many ways to fabricate, to get on here, to be the power of positive thinking and tell you that the Mizzou Tigers are going to come away victorious here, but I just don't see it. And I don't see it mainly because of their opponent. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many Army opt-outs there were, but I guarantee there wasn't too many of them. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get the full force of these guys when they come down here, and they're going to want to get 9 victories. So I think it's a close game. I think it's a low-scoring game. I think they're going to do everything they can to keep Missouri's offense off the field. But I'm just going to have to give Army the victory with the last possession here and the spread. I think the spread's 6.5 here, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so give me Army and the over 27, Mizzou 20.
Why do you hate Mizzou, Shane?
It's that concussion, man. You know, I don't think right sometimes.
I heard your brother say, Shane, I mean, Missouri's got the opt-outs we mentioned. At the Army, they ain't got no opt-outs because you opt out, you're getting shipped overseas. So, hey, maybe he well said there by the Flying Hawaiian. And, that's kind of what this game I think is going to come down to. Who wants to be there more? And with none of the captains playing, some of them due to injury, but others due to opt-out, it's like you said, it's going to be tough to see a path for Missouri to win this football game. It's going to be tough to see Missouri score points because with that triple option attack, Army eats up the clock. And, how many possessions Missouri realistically going to get in this football game? And, we know, like you said, the run defense has improved, but, you got only 2-3 weeks to prepare for this attack. I just don't know if you're going to make the strides necessary to be able to slow them down. So I'm kind of right there with you. Now, I hope I'm wrong. Maybe Brady Cook, who fans have been calling for much of the season, maybe he gets in there. Maybe he shines. Maybe even if he struggles, maybe we get Tyler Macon in there and he shines. So, there's potential for maybe the offense was kind of getting held back by Connor Bazelak. We know he's been banged up, so I'm not putting it all on him, but maybe a little bit more on the injuries. But how can you go with Missouri when you've had Coach Drinkowitz here say, this guy's the heart and soul of this team? How many wins? What's his value? His value is every damn win we've had on the board. And if Tyler Beatty ain't playing, it's hard for me to see Missouri pulling ahead and winning the Armed Forces Bowl. So I'm right there with you. I actually even have it a little bit more lopsided than you, Shane, because I think it's going to be difficult for Missouri to put up points on the board. I got Army 24, Missouri 13.
Now, Mike, I said all that, and I'm going a little positive spin here. I will say there's going to be something nice about having that youth out there because I think there's no expectations here. I think there's no consequences of losing. The fact you made a bowl game, you're getting an extension at some point. You keep doing that at Mizzou, you're going to be fine. But I think Eli's going to be coming in here with a clean slate, man. Just let's grip and rip, man. Let's have some fun. Let's let these young kids play a little bit. I think one of the big ones is the fact Beatty's out. And I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes Mizzou reminded me of Kentucky a few years back when they just wanted to get Benny Snell as many touches as possible, Right. It gets, I think sometimes they get in their way when you have just one player being so dominant. You want to force feed them the ball, and then you kind of, bleed your offense through that. Now they don't have to do that. They can really cut loose. They could really have some fun here. And I think if you're looking spin zone here, the fact that Mizzou's going to come out with an offense that they've never seen. When's the last time you've not seen Beatty in uniform? You know what I'm saying? So Who knows? Maybe we're looking at the end of this thing and saying, damn, what was I thinking having Mizzou lose to Army? But right now it is tough because of the opt-out situation. Your captains, of all people, not going to be there. And I don't blame them. We're talking millions of dollars on the line here for a potential injury, but you'd still love to see them at full crew because I think if that was the case, we'd have a victory. But who knows, man? You may come away here with quarterback controversy. There's a lot of good things that could come from here. This is the Hoover storyline is going to be created, man.
Yeah, and one aspect of this game not to overlook, Shane, Steve Wilks, the defensive coordinator, in his first year there in Columbia, came from the NFL. It certainly looked like it was a struggle to adjust to the college game, but he made that adjustment late in the season, maybe with a couple of weeks of further evaluation, a couple of weeks of understanding what his players can and cannot do. Maybe that defense takes a huge this is the great unknown of bowl season, Shane. You just don't know who is going to step up with these added practices. You don't know it could be the defense from Missouri, which we thought was going to be a strength of that team. They weren't for much of the season. Maybe they make those strides this year, and because across the board, Missouri is going to have a talent advantage over Army, and maybe that wins the day here in the Armed Forces Bowl.
Absolutely, man. It's an audition for some of these kids. Some of these kids that didn't get the opportunities throughout the season, maybe they're better at game time under the lights than they are in practice. So who knows? We may have a couple studs pop here in a minute, and you'd be like, okay, they're going to be all right.
Well, hey, buddy, this podcast with the interviews went a little bit long, so I'm going to cut it right here. But, hey, it's just great to hear your voice. You know what? And I know the listeners appreciate it more than anybody. So I just want to say thanks again for joining the show, breaking down the start of SEC bowl games. We got one more on Thursday, and then we're going to have several next week. So, man, it's great to be picking bowl games here again, isn't it?
Absolutely, man. A lot of people reached out. A lot of people worried, saying that I haven't packed my bags here. I took a little break here around the holidays. It's just really crazy at work. But it turns into a ghost town after January 1st. So I'll be more involved after the bowl games. But I appreciate you getting on here with me, Mike. I love talking gambling. Put all your money on Army. That means Mizzou's probably going to walk away the winner. So that's my lock.
All right, well, we'll catch you on the next one. Appreciate everybody for hanging out. I just said the same thing. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right. See you guys. Go Vols.